Hey, this is Terry Jeanette with the Tapping Flamingo, and this week I'm actually celebrating a birthday. Not my birthday, but my shop's birthday. My Etsy shop, which is called Tapping Flamingo Bling, is actually a year old this week, and I have learned a ton this past year, and I would actually like to share it with you, especially those of you who are thinking about opening up their own online shop. Because it's more than just slapping on a couple of items and hoping people will buy it. You have to set it up. You have to figure out how much you want to charge. You've got to take good pictures, and you've got to figure out how to be seen. And that actually is probably my biggest issue, is trying to be seen, because there's so many online shops and people on these. But anyway, let me just tell you what I have learned. The first thing, I kind of want to tell you a little bit of a background. Most of you who followed me already know some of this. I've been making jewelry since forever, since high school. And back about 20 years ago, when my children were little, I had a small business when we lived in Wilmington, North Carolina. But as the years went on and I started homeschooling and the kids were involved in extracurricular activities, I just did not have the time to put into a business. So that got put on the back burner. Well, now that my youngest is just turned 22 last week, I have the time to be able to do this. When he was about a junior in high school, I started making jewelry again, and just kind of dabbling with it. I sold a few items, but when I say few, I mean really a very few. Most of the stuff I just gave away as gifts. But as time went on, I thought I really would like to make a small business of this. So then we moved to Kentucky. And I started getting a new group of friends, and they saw some of my stuff, and they really, really liked it. And they said, have you ever thought about opening an Etsy shop? It had crossed my mind, but I was not really very confident in myself. But they kept, encouraging me to do so. Well, a couple years later, we moved back down to Louisiana. And I have a friend down here that actually has a very successful Etsy shop. She is called, what is it? It's called, I forgot, Studio by the Sea, SEA. And I'll leave a link so you can go check out her studio. But she does like birthday banners and things for cruises and all. She's very talented, and I've used her before. But anyway, she told me, she says, I will be more than happy to help you out. You really need to open up an Etsy shop. So I got to really thinking about it. What would I put in there? What would I call myself? Well, I've been the Tapping Flamingo for a long, long time. And I wanted to keep that. But that doesn't really describe my product. And that's one thing you really need, is a name that describes your product. So Tapping Flamingo describes me. I grew up in Florida. That's where I call home. And I grew up dancing, and I like to tap dance. So that is Tapping Flamingo. But what could I add to that to describe my product? Well, my product mostly is jewelry, but I also make bookmarks, beaded bookmarks. I make keychains, stuff out of guitar strings, paper beads, Christmas ornaments, and I like to use a lot of crystals and natural stones, crystals. They're blingy. What about Tapping Flamingo Bling? Well, that's how that came about. So it describes me, describes my product. So I had that all figured out. The next thing I had to figure out was how I was going to, or actually what I was going to put on to my shop for the first time. Well, since it was the end of October, Christmas was coming up. And I knew that people were going to be shopping for Christmas stuff. So I put a lot of my ornaments on there and jewelry. And actually my first purchase was a lady who bought 5 ornaments from me. She actually contacted me and she told me she liked this one ornament that I had on there, but asked if I could do them in different colors, and I did. So that was really kind of a neat experience. Okay, so got all that figured out. So I went over to my friend's house and she got me set up. She told me how I should probably do my, tell y'all how I do my shipping, how much things were. Anyway, all the little details. And there are a ton of details. Another thing is that's really, really important are photographs, because you need to make sure that what you portray on your shop is actually the thing that you'll be getting. And photography was probably the hardest thing. I love to take pictures. I consider myself an amateur photographer. I think I do pretty well. I've done pictures of families and landscape, but photographing little tiny pieces of jewelry is a whole different ball game. Sometimes the lighting may show different coloring in your product. And as I did research, they told me that I should use natural lighting. Well, I live in the state of Louisiana, and as you can tell with my glasses here, that's really very hard to do, is to have the natural lighting work for you, because things are really bright here. And if they're not bright, it's a cloudy day and it's raining. So I had to find a place where I could get the natural lighting, but not where it was too amplified, I guess you could call it. And I have a place in my dining room that has a buffet that's painted white. And I thought, well, that's probably going to be the best thing. It's right next to a window. And I can filter it with some shears. As you see back here, I've got shears on these windows. And so that kind of filters the lighting if it's too bright. And I can move the shears, let in more lighting if I need it. And I set up underneath a sconce that's pretty bright. And I have a white backboard. So it's kind of, it's rigged kind of weird, but it works. And sometimes I do have to edit it a little bit, because when I take the picture, like if it's a green stone, it may not look the color of green that the stone actually is. So I have to kind of play with it. So I make sure you know exactly what it looks like, because what you see in the picture is what I want you to get. I don't want you to see something and then when you get it, go, well, this doesn't look anything like the picture. Also, when I photograph my pieces, like a leaf may have a vein in it, I want you to see the detailing in some of this stuff. So that is really, really important. Okay, so I got my photography done. I'm getting ready to list a product. So it takes me a while to put all the information in there. I make sure I measure so you know what size things are. Sometimes I'll even take a picture with a ruler so you can actually get a mental vision of this. Because I know myself, I've whipped out that ruler and I'm like, well, is that really the size? But to see it, it sometimes makes it a little bit clearer exactly what you're getting. So then I come to, after I've described it and posted the good pictures, I've got to come up with a fee. And this is another difficult thing to come up with. And I want to show you a product that I have. This is one of my guitar string ornaments. And for instance, if I was to list this, I've got to figure out how much it costs me to make this. And of course, I want to make a little money off of it. I don't work for free. And but I also want to keep my prices low. And that's really important to me. So I take into consideration the fact that I have to go get the guitar strings. So I go get them and I come back. Then I have to sort through them, and they are a tangled mess when I get them. Sometimes I have to throw some away because I just cannot get them untangled. And on top of that, they're kind of nasty. They're really, really dirty. So I have to clean them. And I want to make sure they're really, really clean because I don't want you getting a dirty, nasty product that could make you sick. So they're cleaned really well. Okay, so once I get them cleaned, I have to cut them and sort them. All that takes quite a bit of time to do. So then I have to design the product, okay? This particular one here, they all come with a hook, by the way. I knew I wanted something pink. And living in the state of Louisiana, fleur-de-lis are huge. In fact, all throughout the South, fleur-de-lis are a pretty popular item. And I wanted to put a fleur-de-lis on. And as I was going through my garland, I saw this really pink garland. I thought, gosh, that would look so pretty with some glass pearls. And so that's what I came up with. Wired it all together, which again takes time. Have to take into consideration how much all my stuff costs. And that's kind of how I come up with the price that I charge for my individual pieces. Isn't that pretty? I really like this one a lot. This particular one is not on my Etsy shop, but I have one very similar to it. And this one will be at a craft fair that I'll be doing in a couple of weeks. Okay, so then I figured out the price, and then I've got shipping and handling. Well, this piece, I want to make sure that it looks like this when you take it out of the packaging. I don't want it to be smashed or broken or twisted or anything like that. So I've got to make sure that I package it really, really well. And I'll put them in a Ziploc baggie. And it's in a bubble mailer, and I wrap it really well. And so it takes time to do that, plus the money to buy all the supplies to wrap it up nicely. Then I have to go to the post office and mail it. So when I'm thinking about shipping and handling, I take all that into consideration. So whenever you're thinking about maybe putting together your own online shop, you've got to take all this stuff into consideration. And it's actually been kind of fun to do. And the hardest part, I keep saying photography is the hardest part. Then it's like pricing is the hardest part. I think all of it's the hardest part. But another hardest part is to figure out how to get yourself seen. And that is something I'm still working on because I'm kind of invisible. I've always been an invisible person anyway, but online, I seem to really be invisible because there are so many people out there that have beautiful products. And so there's a lot of competition. Anyway, I hope this helps you out if you're thinking about doing your own online shop. And I also hope you go out and check my TappingflamingoBling Etsy Shop. Tapping Flamingo is also on Instagram. TappingflamingoBling is on Facebook. And I have all kinds of different fun stuff there. I'll put links to all these things so you can just hop on over there. And that's all for now. Happy birthday, Tapping Flamingo Bling. And y'all have a wonderful day. This is Tapping Flamingo signing out. Bye-bye.